coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So keep working till it's hurting, cause that's when you start deserving everything you want, everything you need. Trust the process, yeah, you got this. Keep on working till you bleed. Yeah, I've been there, yeah, I've done that. 10 long years of breaking my back, but now I'm up here, never looking back. I got more dreams that I wanna go attack. Keep on going, keep on moving, never give up. I'll keep going, I can prove just what I'm made of. I got that fire in me, got that desire in me. I'm never tired, I'll be pushing till I'm finally free. I was made to break away from the pack, to challenge, to fight, and to carve my own path. This world wasn't made for the weak, they don't last. Survival of the fittest, so be vicious and attack. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but the speed lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. I like to get paid, that's why I work every day. I'll be making money till I'm in my grave. Don't care what they say, I'll buy time with my money. Laughing to the bank cause it's funny. The money keep coming, I manifest it. Sing these lyrics and you'll get it. I'm the bank, come invest it. I get tracked and I have it. Money finds me attractive. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but the speed lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. I'll do the work, yeah, I'll do it till it hurts. I'll invest in my future, I'll invest in the purse. I wanna be so rich, life changes, and I don't ever think about how much I just pay it. Yeah, it's the dream, the American dream. Live on top, don't stop till you got everything. But there's balance, cause this life is a challenge. You gotta live in the now while building up the talent. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but the speed lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So keep working till it's hurting, cause that's when you start deserving everything you want, everything you need. Trust the process, yeah, you got this. Keep on working till you bleed. Yeah, I've been there, yeah, I've done that. 10 long years.
Okay, hello everybody. Quick check of the microphone. Let's see if everybody of you can hear me. If you can write something in the chat, it would be nice. Yeah, welcome, good evening to everybody. It's currently at 8 p.m. here in Europe, so therefore it's a little bit late. Maybe some of you guys are from somewhere else and joining us, and yeah, listening to this and watching this, hopefully, so that we can today go ahead and assemble another Bitaxe. As you already can see, yeah, microphone is working. That's great. Thanks for this reply. So yeah, we do have another Bitaxe here today with us, and today we want to assemble this live here. I want to do everything. I hope I can be quick enough and that I don't take up hours of your time. Nice, someone of the USA is also in here. Lovely to see this. Hey to everybody in here. I really appreciate it that you joined in today and that you're watching me doing this here. Yeah. So what do we have here? We do have a Bitaxe device for all the people who are joining in and don't know what I'm talking about here. This is basically just a PCB, a little platine that you solder on a couple of electronics. And in this case, these are a lot of electronics that work together to create something like a solar miner for Bitcoin mining. And we do have a set from the company Decentral from Canada, a viewer of mine reached out to me and asked me if I would be helpful enough to help him assemble this, due to the fact that he does not have the equipment for doing this, and I do, and I offered him that I can do it for him. So yeah, he reached out to me, and there we go, I'm doing it for him, and I'm doing this live here so that you can enjoy this and see how everything is doing. And my overall goal of today's live stream is to assemble all the parts that you can see in this in this tiny box. And I will also talk about different parts, because some of them are really difficult to place on the PCB, and a couple of those have issues when you try to solder them onto the PCB for the first time. So yeah, as I told you, this kit is from Decentral, and let's see if I can put in this in the chat. I do. I put in a link in the live chat, so if you're interested in it, this is a referral link. You will not pay more, but it will help out this channel if you want to order yourself something like this do-it-yourself kit. I do plan to do more of those streams and trying to do those soldering tutorials more often, because I noticed that a ton of people want to learn a little bit about this and understand how everything works. And yeah, therefore I'm doing those streams, and I hope to enjoy everybody of you. And now let me guide you over what I do have, what kind of equipment I use, so that we are all on the same place, so that you also understand, if you want to do this on your own, what you need for everything to work. So the first thing that I do have here, this syringe looking thing, is that's solder paste. So that's some sort of a paste that I apply to this PCB, and if I apply heat to it, it will melt down and make an electronical connection with the actual electronics that I put it on. What else do I have here with me? To the right, you cannot see this. This is a heat gun. Basically, it's using electronic to heat up a coil inside, and it's shooting hot air out. And that's what I'm using to melt down this solder paste after I applied it to this PCB. I also do have a thermal compound here. So in the end, if everything has been done, I will apply this thermal paste to the ASIC chip that will come on the spot that you see right here, and then this one will get cooled by a freaking looking cool heatsink. I never saw some of this for a Bitaxe, but yeah, the viewer sent this over to me, and it has some really weird looking connection, and how you strengthen it actually to the PCB. We will get to this later on. So yeah, so now you know what I do have for some tricky parts, or if I need to actually change a couple of things. I do have a piece of copper wire or copper shielding that I have been using on some cables to remove a little bit of solder paste, and I also have a solder iron next to me. Nothing special, just something that I ordered really cheap from AliExpress. And yeah, that's what I'm using here. So let me quickly get the heat gun soldered. It's currently set to 300 degrees. I will change this to, it's a little bit loud probably, I'm sorry for this. I will change this to 235 degrees Celsius. I do not know what this is in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, I do not use those kind of numbers. Hello, Marcus. Nice and lovely that you joined in here. PP, I do not have any links for the equipment. I'll try to put on some links in there if I do have enough time while we do the stream. Yeah, so let us go ahead and yeah, I need to change the tip of this syringe quickly. 1 second. I need to find another tip. I do have multiple of those tips to get the solder paste in the right spot, but it seems like this tip is now full and will no longer supply me with enough of, yeah, there we go, with enough of solder paste. So I'm sorry for this, that I need to change this. There we go. So there's another tip that I can put on it. So unfortunately it seems like it hardened out, so it's actually not usable any longer. That's weird, but nevertheless. So I put on this tip on the syringe, and then I can apply a little bit of pressure, and there should be some solder paste coming up on the front. Not sure if you can actually see this. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see what I'm talking about. There's a little bit of solder paste in the front of the syringe tip. Let me zoom out again. Yeah, what I'm usually doing when it comes to a Bitaxe, and I saw that now a couple of them, the last live stream that I did was basically my first ever doing a live soldering, and I now soldered a couple of them, and I do have a couple of tricks and tips that I will give you, so that whenever you do this, that you will have hopefully a better understanding of what you need to do. Hey Dustin Butler, you asked if this comes partially assembled. As you can see, this is the actual board that you will receive if you order this from Decentral, and there's a link in the live chat where you can get this. Yeah, that's how this board will look like. So basically you get those partly assembled PCB, and you do have a couple of those blank spots that we see all over the place. And then you have this little box that Decentral is providing you, and in there you will find those different parts that you need to solder onto it. And on top here, on the top, you will see what kind of number or what kind of naming each of those parts has. For example, the top right here, this is a L1. So all we need to do is basically figure out where's L1. We do see there's a L1 on the PCB. Let me zoom in for you. We do see there's a L1, and so we need to solder this to this spot. And yeah, let me bring over the camera. That's usually what I'm doing. I'm trying to explain you what those numbers are, and what those kind of words or namings for those boards are, and then we will work us from the easier parts to the more complex parts. Because there are a couple of parts that took me quite a while to understand how to solder them actually on those boards, because it's not really that simple. Sometimes you really have a couple of issues with them, but in today's video I hope, or in today's stream, that we can do them pretty easily. So let's see. I do pick up my heat gun quickly, and yeah, it's heating up right now. So let's start with L1, the one you see right here. So what we will do is basically just give a little bit of solder paste to the left part and a little bit of solder paste to the right side. And then all we do is we do take this part here that you see, the L1, and there shouldn't be a direction for this one. Let me quickly check if there's a direction for this one. I do not see a direction for this one, so it should be fine. I quickly check so that I'm not talking anything wrong in here on my other PCBs. So we just put it on here. What we need to do is make sure that we are placing this as good as possible. And I hope I'm not shaking today too much, because I was climbing with a couple of friends today, and I used a ton of my energy in their arms. So we have placed it, and I hope that you will be able to see this. I'm not sure. I will now heat up this with my heat gun, and as soon as the solder paste reached a certain temperature, it will actually melt down, and when it has been melted down enough, it will make a connection between the part and the PCB. So let's give this a little bit of time. So again, when it comes to the temperature I'm using on this device, I am using 235 degrees Celsius. I do not know what this is in Fahrenheit. Maybe some of you guys could post this in the live chat. Would be handy for the people that are interested in. But yeah, I'm heating it up to the left, I'm heating it up a little bit to the right. It is actually melted down, but not perfectly. So I'm trying to apply a little bit more heat to get it better. Like when you heat this solder paste up, you do see some sort of a change in the color. So now it's perfect. So the left side is done. I do point the heat gun to the right side. The color will actually change from this kind of looking gray to a little bit more silver looking, shiny. So yeah, it's actually soldered pretty good. Here on the left hand side, on the right hand side, you can see this. It's hot and really shiny there. And the part is actually holding to this. So what we did now is we got our first part on this. So that's good. Yeah, Ben Wilson is saying in the chat that 315 degrees Celsius is okay to use. Probably I do have a solder paste that has a really low temperature melting point at 138 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I do use roughly double the amount of this, but yeah, there are different uses or use cases or different solder pastes. And V-Perm2F, he's also saying that we could use stencils. That's correct. We could use stencils. Stencils are basically just some sort of another sheet of metal with a couple of holes in it, and those holes will be at the locations where you want to put on solder paste. Would be useful if you do have a PCB that is not that's not pre-assembled or partly assembled as this one. We do have a couple of blank spots, but we wouldn't get a good good connection between the stencils and the actual PCB. So it's nothing that I want to use. And to be honest, I would consider this a little bit overkill if you would use stencils here, but should be fine. You're right. You could use stencils, but I mean, it's a do-it-yourself kit, and most of the people can, I believe, just take a couple of different things and it should work for them. So let's see what else we do have in here. I do see that we have another one that we want to solder on. We do have this C13. Interesting enough, this is not included in this kit. I do not know why. Let me see. Maybe you can correct me, but I believe for the BM1397 model we also would need the C13. Yeah, it seems like this is not included in this kit. That's weird. Probably something happened there. Nevertheless, we will quickly skip this part and go to the next big one that we do have. Let me quickly take a look on what we do have in the chat. Stencils are more for the production than do-it-yourself solutions. Yeah, that's totally correct. You would not use stencils for a do-it-yourself usage. Yeah. I mean, it's not bad to not use a stencil or to use a stencil. If you do more often soldering parts, it's quite handy if you have stencils and if they work out. So, but let's go ahead. So we do solder on the first part on the back side. I flip the board now around because I want to go from the biggest parts to the smaller ones. And the next part that I want to solder on with you guys is this C28, so the capacitor 28. So we apply a little bit of solder paste on this here and a little bit on this here. And here we do have our first component that doesn't need a certain orientation. So if we take a look on this, you can see that we do have sharp corners on the bottom side, but the corners are a little bit rounded on the top side. And if you take a look on the PCB, you actually see that it matches the design on the PCB. So we just take it and put it on there, and then we can apply a little bit of heat and it should be good. So let me get this right here on the board and let's apply a little bit of heat, and we should see this one connecting to the board really quickly. So that's the first. I see that we can see the dust that actually uses a orientation. Let me flip this around. It's a little bit easier for me now. We do have a couple other parts that also needs a certain direction, but I will explain you on how you can figure out this orientation out on the next parts. Because now actually we have pretty much done the most easy parts on here, and both of them are sticking good to this board. Let's take a look. So it is soldered onto it. It's not flipping around. It's freaking hot. I burn myself. Oh man. Yeah. So let's move the board around again and let's go over the next parts. So those are probably the two ICs I don't like the most, because they freaked me out a ton of multiple times. I'm sorry, I do have some sort of brain lags currently. So what I want to solder on now are those two parts that you do see up here, Q1 and Q2. And if we take a look at the footprint, we already see there is some sort of orientation. I do have one of them currently here, and what you do see is there is a small dot on the top right side of this IC. This one is actually the orientation. So if we do take a look on the board, we do see that Q2 has a little dot down here and Q1 has a little dot up here. So if we want to place this one on Q1, we just take a look on, let me see if I can get this in the camera, on the little dot that we see up here, and we just place it to the little dot that we see on the PCB. So we would place it on here like this. Like this. That's how we would place this. Yeah, probably a little bit better, but yeah. Why don't I like Q1 and Q2? There are probably some other parts that are even worse, but Q1 and Q2 freak me out because you do have multiple connection points. You do have this big one here on both of them, and you have 4 smaller ones. And I put in the first place, when I soldered the first Bitaxe, I put way too much solder paste on this big point here, so that it was basically just floating above the 4 connection pins up there, so it wouldn't create any connection enough. I didn't notice this. So that's the first thing that I will teach you today, is we will put some solder paste on this side, and we will put down a little bit of solder paste on the 4 smaller ones. And what we want to do is we want to place this on there, and we want to heat it up. And then comes probably one of the most tricky parts. We want to gently press it down while we solder it and heat it up at the same time. That's freaky, I know, and it took me quite a while, and I hope I can do it today because I'm a little bit shaky today. But I still hope that I can get this done the right way. But yeah, that's what we actually need to do. So let's apply a little bit of solder paste on this one here first. So we will do the left one first, and what I like to do then is you don't need to use actually this solder paste. You can probably use some other solder paste that you like, but I love the fact that I do have some sort of this tip here. This this tip is really good. I do put out a little bit of it, and then I just try to get a little bit on each point. Now I have way too much on it. What we could also do is just get a huge amount out of it, heat it up before we actually place it, and see if we do have any sort of bridges between those connection points. But you will see what I'm talking about while I'm doing this. So it now looks a little bit messy, I know. But let me quickly heat this up a little bit for you, so that you understand what I'm talking about. If I heat this up, it should connect to the 4 soldering points that we do have. As you see, we have the first and we do have the other ones. Obviously now it's not perfect, and I do have a little bit of an issue, so I need to take my copper that I do have and rub away the excess of solder paste that I do have on here. So let me heat this up a little bit. Can probably just try to I'm sorry guys, I wasn't following the chat. I do see that you're talking a little bit about pre-assembled stuff. Let me get rid of the issue that we do have currently here. I will also crank up the temperature a little bit to roughly 300 degrees. And I need to increase the airflow a little bit. Yeah, that's way better. That's way quicker even. Sometimes I just try to be gentle to those points, but sometimes there's no point of being gentle to this kind of stuff. So, let's see. Okay, now it's not beauty, but it will work in the end, trust me. So, I probably need to put on a little bit of solder paste again, because now I rubbed away way too much of it. So what you want to try is to get a little bit of solder paste on each of those 4 pads. Not too much, not too less. It's kind of hard to figure out what kind of amount you need, but you will get a feeling for this. It's literally interesting. So what I do and what I actually now doing is I heated the PCB up, and now that I know that there is a little bit of solder paste on it and the PCB actually has some sort of temperature to it, it takes the connection point way better, and I can apply a tiny amount on it a little bit easier. So what I'm doing right now is I'm placing the IC as good as possible onto it, and now comes the tricky part. So let's see. We will heat this up, and this will take quite a while. Do you know the differences between assembling the 1366 and the 1397 versions? So the major difference between those is the ASIC difference. Other than that, it could be that the layout of some of the ICs is a little bit different. I do not have the Ultra version here, so I cannot tell you. I will receive one in the near future, and I definitely will do a video about the Ultra version as well, but currently I do not have one here. Let me see if I can get the camera a little bit better. So there we go. So now this IC is heated up as hell, and I will try to gently, I'm shaking as hell, I'm sorry guys, but I gently will push on it and release the heat. This should hopefully do 2 things. The first thing it should do is it should produce, as we can see, a couple of those tiny dots up there. That's perfect. Why is it perfect? Easy. So we made a connection underneath there, and all the excess solder paste is squeezed out of it. And from the fact that I do see 4 tiny dots there instead of a big blob, tells me that I did everything correct to this solder point. Yeah, if I wouldn't have done so, it could be that the connection is working, but I figured out from the last time I soldered everything together that if I do not apply a tiny amount of pressure to it, it will certainly not connect to everything correctly, and therefore you will have issues when you do connect this. So, vPerm2av is saying that it could be interesting if those pre-applied, like these do-it-yourself kits, could be pre-applied with solder paste, so that you just need to put on the ICs and then get it up and running and solder everything together, obviously, with heat. Yeah, that could be an option. I'm not sure if this will be something that they will do. I do not have any argument about or against it. Could be nice. Could also be a mess. Like, imagine you have a bunch of solder paste in your package, and or there is some sort of I don't know, mistake happening inside the packaging, and now it's swimming around in the solder paste that is supposed to be on the PCB. That could be a mess, I believe. Yeah, but now we do have like 17 viewers. thank you guys for joining in here. I really appreciate it that you're hanging out with me and listening to what I'm telling you. So let's move forward and let's do the Q2. And again, we will apply a tiny amount of solder paste to the negative part of Q2. I probably will not explain what are the positive and negative parts of every IC that I do solder onto this, but I do see that, one second, I do see that there is sometimes the necessity of explaining on how to actually orientate those devices or those ICs. So I will now heat up a little bit the PCB again, just to make it a little bit more easier for me to actually apply the solder paste onto it. So I don't want to heat it up too much, I just used a little bit, and I will squeeze out a tiny amount of solder paste, and I will try to quickly get a tiny point on each of these connection points that we want to reach. That's the only reason that we are doing this. I just want to get it on there, and I noticed if I heat up the PCB just a tiny bit, it will stick on the PCB a little bit better, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. So let me check everything. Probably a little bit better here. So there we go. Now I can use this IC, and I will quickly go over this again so that you understand. You do see there is a tiny point on the bottom left side, and we do have a tiny point on the PCB as well. Let's see if we can get the focus on this. Right above my fingertip, you can see there's a tiny dot, and this is the dot that we want to use for the orientation. So we put on the IC to this. There we go. And now I do take the heat gun, I apply the heat to this IC, and as soon as I think it is heated up enough, it will probably take a couple of seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds. If you don't use too much heat, you shouldn't damage those ICs. So now it should be good from the temperature. And now I'm just using a tiny bit of pressure to press down on it to squeeze out the excess amount of solder paste that we do not need underneath it. I release the heat, and now I need to do it again because now it. No, I think that's good. I think that's good. I think I made a good connection. So this is a little bit like too much paste on the center probably, Ben, but we do have 3 tiny dots there, and it seems to me that it made a good connection. So I'm happy with the result currently. By the way, Ben, while I do have you in here, is it required for the max version to have C13, so the capacitor down here? Because in this kit it's not included, and I'm worrying if I missed something, but I do know that I have to use a C13 on the other ones, so I'm not sure. Yeah, on every other one of the ones I do see a C13, but not in this one. Interesting. Yeah, nevertheless. So let's move ahead and let's take the next one that is probably a little bit different. We do have C46, and we do have a connection that we want to use, a orientation, I'm sorry. So let's see, we do have positive here and negative there. So what I need to do, I'm sorry, you guys don't see this. So this is C46. Like you can see here is the number C46. Yeah, C13 is required. Also remove R11. Let me see, R11. Yeah. I know about this. R11 shouldn't be used. Where is it? Somewhere down here, I believe. But nevertheless, we will take a look on this later. So we do have C46. This is also one that we need to orientate in a certain direction, and we do see that we have a orientation on this as well. So we do have a plus here on this side, and we need to match it with the plus that we do see on this side. So what we actually do is we move this around by 180 degrees, and we want to place it like this on the board. That's what we want to do. So let's apply a little bit of solder paste on there first. Also, by the way, big shout outs to everybody in the OSMU, so the Open Source Mining United community. There are a ton of intelligent people that are driving forward this project. And if you do have a Bitcoin miner that you want to set up and just use it for a little bit of solar mining, I do suggest you to reach out to the public pool. You can find this under web.public-pool.io. If this pool will ever find a block, it will contribute a portion of the amount to the community that actually made this board possible. Just so that you know, you could also try to just support them and give them a little bit of Bitcoin, or in other ways a little bit of money, just to support this project and keep things growing. Just wanted to mention this here. All right, so let me quickly check one thing. There we go. All right, so we do have C46 connected and in the right orientation. The next one that we could do, that's also a easy one, would be U1. Let's see, U1. We do have this one here. It's really tiny. Let's move up the board a little bit. So we do have U1 here, and we do see a tiny dot. So what we need to do now is take this IC, and I hope that you can see it. Let me see if I can move it. There is a tiny dot. So we need to flip this one also around. Whoop. Let me check if I was right. We need to move this one around and match the orientation of the dot on the IC to the dot on the PCB. So this would be the orientation I would place it on. We do have 4 connection points. So yeah, let's preheat just a tiny amount on the actual PCB, just to make it a little bit more easy for you guys. This is do-it-yourself. This is a do-it-yourself kit. So everything we do here is already something that you either try to experiment with this type of PCB, or you just have someone like me who's doing a live stream and explaining you how to solder on those parts. By the way, I'm also thinking about, maybe I will do this in the future, some sort of online classes for soldering the Bitaxe. I'm not an expert. Everything that I have learned from the people on the Open Source Mining United community. So really shout out to them. Those are already intelligent people and they know their stuff. So let's place this on here, and this one is way easier. We just apply a little bit of heat. This one I usually don't really press down. Shouldn't be too much. As you have seen, magic happened. Let me see if I can get the focus a little bit better. It magically got in the right spot, and all the solder points are looking good. So let's move forward. As we do those things, I try to increase I try to increase the amount of stress that we do have here. Because why I'm talking about stress, because this is really stressing people out if you never have done something like this. So what I want to do next is the next IC called U6. We do have this one here. Funny thing about the U6 is it's completely different compared to the U5. It looks the same, but make sure that you do get the right IC. Let me quickly get the box over here. In the top of the box is there are all the names and all these numbers, U6 and C28 and stuff like this. Everything has been labeled in here so that you don't mess up the things. Just make sure that we do use the right one. So we want to use the U6 IC next. and U6 and U5 is different because the voltage output that they do have is different. And I had a conversation with a manufacturer that is trying to mass produce those Bitaxes, and he actually made the mistake of using the wrong ICs on those slots. Yeah, it wouldn't damage the board, it would just... It was quite funny, the Bitaxes were working, but they were unstable. They bounced around 50 to 150 gigahashes back and forth, and yeah, quite funny, but yeah, I found the issue, and there it goes. So this is U6, we want to take this, and the orientation of this is pretty simple. We do see 3 of those solder points to the left hand side, and we do see 2 of them on the right hand side. So we just match the orientation of the IC to the PCB, and we should be good. So let me place this right next to it. Let me apply just a tiny amount of heat to the PCB so that it makes it a little bit easier for the solder paste to stick to the right section on the PCB. And then I just take my solder syringe, put out a little bit of solder paste. Let's go ahead with the right hand side first, a little bit here, a little bit there, and now we can put on, add a little bit on the left hand side. I need a little bit more. So one thing that I also want to mention to you guys is, if you do this the first time and you're not sure if you use too much or way too less solder paste, it's always good if you use too less. One reason for this is, if you do have too much, you need to remove it in some way, and that's sometimes really hard. Oh, this is a perfect placement. So let's see if we can see the magic now live. Try to do this from the side. If you do put on too less, you can always... Oh, wait a second, that was wrong. I'm sorry. Oh man, it's looking bad. Let me get the IC. Opala. One second, I need to check the IC. It looks like the IC has some sort of a broken leg. Maybe we can fix this. Let me try to apply heat to it. What I'm doing now is I'm holding it tight while sitting on the spot. Now I let cool it down, but it seems like it's not making a connection. Probably yeah. It needs a little bit longer time-wise to actually cool down. Okay, let's wait a couple seconds longer here. It's also really interesting about solder paste. If you use it and it... let's see if we do have the right connection. It looks good to me. Let me quickly grab my glasses here, because I cannot really see this perfectly. One second. Yeah, the solder point looks good now. So maybe I can use this as well for you guys. It's not really clear in the camera. I'm using my iPhone to stream this to you guys, so yeah, maybe it's not really clear here. But the connection now is good. I do have a little bit too much of air probably going into the heat gun, so this was the reason why the IC moved to the left all the time. Yeah, so let's go ahead. vperm2, thanks for the compliment. I really appreciate it. So let's move ahead with U5. It looks the same. It looks the same, but it has a different voltage output. The orientation is also the same, but as I said, those two devices are those two ICs are completely different. U5 will be placed right here, and so let's move ahead, heat up the PCB just a tiny amount so that the solder paste sticks a little bit better to the PCB. If some of you guys are really more into soldering, you will probably see a couple of mistakes that I do. If you want to point them out, that's totally fine. Otherwise, I'm just trying to educate the people, because everything about what I'm doing on this channel is about educational stuff, and if you can educate the people or get a better solder experience to the people, I will really appreciate it. So let's see, we do have a ton of solder paste now on this, and maybe even a little bit too much, but we will see. I just place it on here. I'm really shaking today, and let's see if we can make the magic happen here. Soldering this up. I'm not sure if this one has a good soldering connection. I think there might be a little bit too much solder paste underneath, but we will take a look. I will take a quick look on this. So what I'm looking for is if I do see any bridges. A bridge is basically a connection between two of those solder points. That's something we don't want. For obvious reasons, it would actually destroy the electronic path that we try to achieve with this device. But as of now, it looks really good. Like, take a look on it. That looks really good. So solder point is accomplished. Good. So the last easy part that I do have, normally I would have two Y1 shouldn't be placed on this one, because I do have Y1 in the box, but for whatever reason it is placed on the PCB already. Yeah, so the last one that I do have, and a couple of people are telling me that they do have a ton of issues with this, is U9. Let's zoom in a little bit more to it so that you do see what I'm talking about. This is U9. So we do have a ton of different connection points, and the IC is also really tiny. So yeah, we do have a ton of different connection points. But yeah, as you can see, we do have on the top right hand side, we do have the point, and we do see a point on the actual PCB. So the orientation is already fine. What I want to do now is I want to put on way too much solder paste. I will show you what I mean with way too much in just a second. And then I hope that it was just enough to make a connection to each point. Let me quickly heat up the PCB just a little bit so that the solder paste sticks a little bit better to it. It will look like a mess, but normally what it should do is it should make a magical connection between the metallic points or the electrical points, and that's what we want. So let's apply a little bit here, and we put down a little bit there and a little bit over here. So this should be more than enough. Maybe too much. We will see, we will see. So what I have done here, let's see, the focus is not looking good. Let me zoom out a little bit. So what I have done there is I just tried to use a good amount of solder paste on this so that each of those tiny ports has a good amount of solder paste to it. If I now heat it up, it should connect to each of those single soldering points. So what I will do now is I will grab the U9, place it on top of it, heat it up, and you and I, we will pray to God that this one is sitting there correctly and that we do have good solder connections to everything. So bear in mind, just pray a little bit with me, and then everything should be fine. I'm trying to do this from the left hand side again so that you can see what's going on. The focus of the iPhone is sometimes a little bit weird, especially with the software that I'm using. Okay. I also try to apply gently a tiny amount of pressure to it. There we go. I do see a couple of dots on the top. I do see one dot to the right. Everything beneath looks good. Let me try to scratch away the dots on the top. What you don't want to make here is a solder connection between those ports. C24 has a solder ball next to it. Let's see, C24. Where is C24? I'm searching for it. I do not see C24. C24 should be... Wait a moment, where is C24? So Max S is asking, he hasn't done this by himself, but won't there be a short circuit if several contacts are connected by the solder paste? So yeah, Max, you are kind of correct, but that's what we try to achieve. We put on the solder paste to everything, and if you apply heat to it, the solder paste will actually stick to the contact point that you want to make. For example, if I would apply, here I make an example so that you understand what I'm talking about. I will apply way too much solder paste here, and a little bit next to it, so that you do get the point. Like you see, we do have solder paste all over it. But if I now apply heat to it, watch what will happen. It will actually move over to the point. Did you see this? And that's what also will happen underneath the ICs that we are trying to solder onto this board. And this is some sort of a sweet spot that you need to figure out on your own. There's nothing like a recipe I could give you for this. It took me a couple of times to figure this one out. There is a certain amount that you can put on it, but if you have done too much on it, you need something like a copper wire or anything else to get rid of the excess solder one on the bottom next to U5. C24. Yeah, there's a solder board to it. Thank you, Ben. I now see it. I've taken it away. Now it looks better. The focus on the iPhone today is really bad again. Yeah. Never mind. So, yeah, I hope this explained it to you, Max. That's what we have seen on the TP. The test point 23 is what will happen underneath the ICs. And so we are trying to just apply the right amount of solder paste to it so that it does not have any issues with the individual ports that we do have underneath. The best explanation will probably happen as soon as we solder on the ASIC, but this one will be my last one that I will solder onto this. Let me quickly get the C13 that I do have on another board and transfer it over to the new board, just for the sake of testing this, because in today's video or in today's live stream, what I want to achieve with you guys is I want to assemble this one, and I want to make sure that the Bitaxe is actually working. That's my overall goal. So I just take this one here. I hope I can make enough heat to it so that I can actually take it apart. Let's see if this works. Normally what you should have, if you do order the Bitaxe Max, that's the version that we are seeing here, the BM1397. These are the ASIC chips from the S17. This is basically the older chip. If you do order those, you should have something like this C13 in the kit. Don't ask me why there's none in this today. I don't know. That's just a kit that I received and that I'm happily building together for a viewer of mine. Okay, so for whatever reason it will not get off there today. Let's move on with the actual board, because I think that's way more important to you than seeing me doing a desoldering. Okay. So let's see. We do have 3 more ICs that we need to solder on there. We do have the U8, we have the U10 and the U7. I think we should start with the U10. That's this one. Let me zoom in a little bit for you so that you see that we do have a couple of connection points, 4 on each side. Also U10 was, where is it now? It moved away. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my parts. U10 was, there it is. U10 was also one of my issue parts in the first place, because it has really tiny lags. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you do see this, these lags are really tiny, and you also have some sort of an orientation on it. You do see there's a small dot. You see this blinking one? That's the dot that we want to arrange with this dot on the PCB. So the orientation would be like this. Let's put it next to the board and let's heat up the board just a tiny amount so that the solder paste actually sticks a little bit better to the PCB, and then we can put on the IC onto it. And again, I'm pulling out a little bit of solder paste. I'm applying on the left hand side a little bit of solder paste, and on the right hand side tiny amount more on the right hand side. And now we try to make magic happen. It could be that it is a little bit too much. That's also one of the issues with these tiny lags. The first time I actually placed it on here, and I believe this will also happen this time, was that it actually made a short circuit between those tiny lags. I believe that's also what will happen today. Let's see, there is some magic happening here. Nice. I'm sorry that the focus is not really good on the phone camera today. I'm trying to make it as good as possible and watchable for you guys, but probably I need to invest a little bit of money in an actual camera. So let me grab my glasses so that I can see what's going on here. I do not see a short currently. There's probably one, so I do recommend, if you do not have really good eyes, I myself need glasses that use some sort of to zoom into those ICs, because sometimes I cannot really see it under the camera, under my own eyes with the glasses, but there is a tiny short between the, when you count from the top down, between the second and the third, there is a tiny dot, and this will create a short. So I will try to heat up this section again. Maybe it will move away. Opala. Let me see. Okay, now I made a really big mess. Now I want to show you what happens if you don't do it right. Now we don't see individual lags, now we see just one place or one piece. That's bad. I made a short between all of those lags. Yep, welcome to the shit show. What I need to do now is take this one apart. So we just heat it up a little bit. Take it off here. The first thing that I do is heat it up again, clean up the section a little bit with my copper that I do have here. Make sure that you do not get rid of some other of those ICs that you do see on there. So now this one looks better. We do have a short, as you can see. So what I like to do then is I use some sort of a third hand. Let me arrange this so that you can see what I'm doing. And again. So I need to be gentle with this one. If you're not gentle with those devices, you can actually get rid of those tiny lags. And we do need those tiny lags. So I place it inside my third hand. Let's see. What I'm doing now is I will apply heat to this section, and while I'm applying heat I will try to use one of those copper strings and get rid of the actual solder paste that's between the lags. I know this is messy and this will take a while, and probably some of you guys are freaking out if you need to do this. I freaked out myself, but that's the only way I know how to do this. So let's heat this up. And let's get rid of the connections that we do have in between. And now what do we see? 4 nice shiny lags. Oh, can you see them now? Hopefully. Yeah, 4 legs perfectly. So let's get this one out here. Pretty easily fixed. Let's see, take a look on the board again. So the first thing that we need to make sure is to get the orientation right. We do have a dot here on the top right of the IC, so we just flip it around. There should be more than enough solder paste still on the PCB. Just to make it a little bit more sticky, we will use something that's called, what it is, solder paste, I believe. It comes in different forms. This one is like a wax. It's sticky, it's yellow. I will apply this. What this will does, it will reduce the tension between the PCB and the IC, and therefore the magic will be better. That's how funny it is. That's how it is. So I put down a little bit of this flux on there. Let's get the IC on there. 1 second. Opala. I try to be as gentle as possible. There we go. It's a little bit off. What I will do now is I would reduce the heat a little bit, the airflow a little bit, so that the heat can be processed a little bit better by the IC, and the connections should be better. It doesn't look beautiful, but we do not have a single short, so that's perfect. U10 is one of the tricky ones, as I said, but nothing to worry about. So let's move ahead and let's get to U7. U7 is in the top, in the bottom left side of this one. We just go ahead with the same procedure. I will heat up a little bit of the PCB just to make it a little bit better for the solder paste to melt down a little bit and stick to the PCB. So let's get there a little bit on it, and also there a little bit on it. Perfect. So now we do the same procedure. We take a look on the IC. Those ones are really tiny, and as you see I do have a pin set, but I will drop them frequently. So we do have a dot in the top, in the bottom left, and we do see a bot. I'm sorry, I'm really scrambled in my head. We do see a point up there, so we need to change the orientation of this IC like this, and now we can place it on there, solder it onto. Let me quickly take a look in the chat For your information, you can buy assembled ultras from me for less than those kits. Yeah, that's also true. That's also true. Ben Wilson, who's in the chat here, he is the founder of the public pool. And Ben, I'm not sure if you do have your shop already listed, but let me do something. I will add you as a moderator, so now Ben, you can put in the link for your shop in here if you want. Yeah, so just that you know. And for all the other people, if you want to get into the soldering, you can follow the link that I set up in the chat here. It will redirect you to Decentral. That's where you usually get this do-it-yourself kit from. But yeah, let's move forward. And let's place this IC on here. It's placed, same procedure. We do apply a little bit of heat to it. Magic should happen. It should melt down and it should make connections with the actual solder points that we want. So let's see, let's inspect everything. That's also one of the crucial parts of doing this do-it-yourself kit. Oh, but it's way too hot. Of this do-it-yourself kit, you need to make sure that these connections are good and that you do not have any shorts. If you're wondering, if you do have a short, usually you will not destroy any of those devices or ICs. Usually you will not destroy any of the ICs that you will put in there if you will produce a short and plug it into power. As I said in the beginning, I also had a Bitaxe with the wrong IC for U6 and U5. The difference is just 1 volt. U5 is 1.8 volts and U6 has an output of 0.8 volts. That doesn't sound like much. It's a difference, it's a notable difference, but the board was still functional. It was not perfectly functional, but it was functional. So don't worry about this. If you do make mistakes, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this do-it-yourself kit. So let's get to my worst nightmare, the U8. Why is it my worst nightmare? Take a look at those legs. These ones are tiny. They are really tiny, and I soldered and desoldered this one specifically probably 5, 10, 8 times. I don't know. It's really freaking me out. Let me quickly take a look on it. I do see that there is one leg a little bit scrambled. Let me try to get this back right. So what I'm talking about, the leg to the most left that you see, it was way too close to the leg that was right next to it. So I just pushed it gently a tiny amount over. The procedure here is basically the same. We do see the dot. We do see the dot here. We want to align those dots with each other. To not put too much solder paste on it, I usually heat up the PCB just a tiny amount so that the solder paste that I do have will be melting down a little bit, not so much, just a little bit, and I don't use too much of it on it. So I usually just press out a tiny amount of it and then I try to make it on there. That's what I'm doing. You don't need, as you see, I just made a line here. You don't need to be specific with all these spots. You can be, but usually the solder paste will go on the right connection points. So you shouldn't worry about those. Let me grab the IC. Let me try to be as precise as possible, because that's one of the crucial parts about this. You want to be as precise as you literally can be, and it might look Ben, you too much. Yeah, maybe it's too much. Let's see. You might look, or it might look to you that this is an easy part, but I'm really shaky, as you can see with my tweezers that I do have here, and aligning this one to the right spot can be hard. So let's see if I mess it up or not. Yeah, let's heat up this a little bit. I try to get you guys a good focus on it. Let's see. We probably will get a short. What I do see in this current moment is that the IC is not placed correctly. Probably I need to do the same with the third hand that I did the first time. Let me take a look. Let me inspect this for a second. So we want it to cool down, and now I want to use my zoom in function here. Let me see. I'm sorry that I cannot show it to you on the camera. Oh, guys, this one is perfect. Let me see if I can show it to you. I'm literally impressed by myself. It looks ugly, but there's literally no short. No short. Oh, wait, maybe I'm wrong. You see, my glasses are not the best. It looks not too bad. Could be that we do have one short. It could be that we do have one short right here on the right hand side of the small legs. And I'm trying to inspect it. Yeah, you know what? Just to be safe. I mean, on the first place, it looks really good. But I'm better safe than sorry, I guess. So I will desolder it, try to get rid of a little bit of the excessive solder paste that I do have on it. And then we will get it back on here. So let's see. Let's get this off here. Also getting these ones off there is sometimes hard, because they are usually quite sticky to the solder paste. Yeah, I mean, I was amazed by myself, and now I'm a little bit stressed out that I messed this up, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see. If I hold this into the camera, you can see there is one tiny short. I didn't see it in the first place, so that's why I was impressed. But that's the reason why I do have this. I don't know how they're called in English. These zoom-in glasses, loops. They're called Lupe in German. So yeah, let me quickly grab my third hand, and let's make quick progress out of this. So we place it in the third hand. As always, be gentle with it. Be gentle with it. You don't want to tweeze or wiggle around those legs, because they are really fragile. If you break them off, yeah, you then broke them off. You cannot repair this, literally. You need to get a new one. So this should be fine. Let me take a look. They are really small. Now it looks better. Yeah. Now there's no short or anything else. So let me apply a little bit of the solder flux on it. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit overall. So the solder flux, as far as I know, is protecting, and it is reducing the tension between those points. So what is it protecting? I believe other ICs laying around. Wait, let me see if I do have no shorts on the PCB. So we need to place it on there as good as possible. Let me inspect this off camera, because then I can take it way closer to my eyes. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. U8 looks good. So let me get this sorted on. Okay, now it's something tricky. So what I need to do now is I need to push it just gently a little bit down because it moved up for whatever reason. Okay, let's see if this one is now good or not. Oxidation and it cleans. Yeah, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben, for being around here and educating me and the other people. That's good. That's good. So let's see. Off camera, I do not see any more shorts. You see those legs? They are clean. Hey, they are clean. The connection points are really good. So that's good. That's good. So we now have seen probably everything that could go wrong. Now to the last one, the ASIC. And you want to see something shiny? I do have, I believe this is a brand new one, guys. This, I'm not sure if I can show you the actual branding on it. Down there on the ASIC, there is a marking. I do have a BM1397 AM. Ben, I'm not sure if you have ever used those AM models. But boy, this one is looking clean. Even the side from underneath, like this is clean. Never seen such a clean ASIC. Usually I let me show you what I usually have seen and what I have worked with, just for the sake of showing you. Usually I do have those used ones here. On the S17, the heat sinks were actually soldered onto the ASIC instead of having some sort of solder paste between them. They glued them to them, and that's usually what I have seen from when it comes to the ASICs. But yeah, this one here is the one that I'm usually dealing with, and this one is in the kit. Man, this is clean. I love to see this. So what do we have here? We do have way too many connection points. So what we are doing is we will gently apply a little bit of solder paste up here, a little bit more here, and then barely any on the right hand side and barely any on the left hand side. That's my plan. I didn't had any issues soldering the ASIC whatsoever on the PCBs. I hope that it stays the same on this one as well. There is a orientation on the ASIC as well. There is a dot. You can actually see the a little bit darker dot on the ASIC currently while it's laying here. On the top left side there is a dot. But usually what I do is I take a look on the down underneath it, and you see that you just want to match the PCB look or the solder connection points on the PCB. So a little bit down here, a little bit up there. Let's see. And after we've soldered on the ASIC, I still need to get one of the C13 of my other boards to verify that this one is actually working. And then we can take a look at this really funny heatsink that I do have. So let's be gentle. Let's apply a tiny portion of heat again to it. It's cooling down. It may help to tin the ASIC since it is new. Sure, it may help. We will see. I never had a new ASIC in my hands, so yeah. Let's see if it helps or not. I will try to first apply barely any. Let's take one from here over here. Barely any solder paste on this. Let me quickly get this off camera just for a second. I really just try to barely make any. Well, that's way too much here. Barely any on the actual PCB. So this should be good. Let's see, maybe a small dot here. Yeah, could be that this is a tiny bit too much. A mini stencil for the ASIC would be a good way to go. A vPerm to have, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you do have some sort of a stencil for a mini stencil, like in the form factor of this quadrant that you do see here, this crater, would be absolutely nice, and just put it over there and then apply the right amount of solder paste to it. I totally agree. I totally agree. So let's try this. Let's put on the ASIC here on it for the first time. So this one is a brand new ASIC. It has never been soldered or used whatsoever. Let's gently move it up and move it in the right direction. So what I found out about the ASIC is this one is the most crucial to get in the right position. As I said, I never had any issues with the ASICs, but that's because I always took the most time while doing this to actually align it with the top line that you do see here and the bottom line that you do see to the left and right. And that's what I did as well here. So let's apply a little bit of heat and let's see if it works out. I hope so. I really hope so. So temperature is rising. We do see a couple of the blobs to the right hand side. Let me apply some heat on the left hand side and a bit on the top, just to heat up everything. I know you cannot really see it currently, I'm sorry. Just applying heat from every angle to this one, just to make sure that it really has a good connection point. For the ASIC, I never had an issue, and I never really used any push mechanic like I did on the Q1 and Q2. I don't know why, but it always worked. So let's see. Let me quickly inspect it from the left and from the right, so that we do not have any blobs or anything else. I do have one blob that I do see, and I want to get rid of it. Got it. I do have a couple on the right hand side as well. I just tried to scrap them away with my tweezers. You see that I do have two blobs there. Let me heat this up a little bit so that I can get rid of them. That's what I'm usually trying to do here, because I don't want any shorts on the ASIC. I'm not sure if anyone ever shortened their ASIC, but I guess it's not a good idea to do so. So let's see how this looks. Let me quickly inspect this off camera. I think there's just one spot that I missed that is not looking good. Yeah, so we do have one spot here. There's one spot that I want to get rid of. It's just the excessive amount of solder paste that came out of it, and even this could create a short. Like, imagine your solder paste is coming out of it and it is creating a short outside of your actual IC. It looks better now. Looks way better now. Okay, so basically I could end the stream here, but of course not, because we need to get the C13 of another one. For whatever reason, as I said, it is not included in this kit. So let me get it off my other do-it-yourself kit. This one here, let me zoom out a little bit. This one here is the Bitaxe that I assembled the first time in my life on live stream with Scott and Jonathan from Decentral. I had them in my first live stream, and yeah, this one is working good. It's making nice hashes on the public pool. If you don't know what the public pool is, Ben, do me a favor and put in the link to the public pool in here, please, so that we do have a location where all the lucky miners can go to try and find the next block, because that's what this is all about. We want to try to find the next block. Let me heat this up, and I need to get this capacitor of the other do-it-yourself kit. I know this is unusual what I'm doing here, but guys, that's the way it is. I need to get this off. I need to show you that what I did is actually working. So let's see if I can get this off. Let me apply a little bit more air to this. I need to be careful here, because if I would apply too much airflow and too much heat, it could cause all those tiny capacitors that you do see all over here to flow away. This would be unideal. So let's see if we can get this off here. Seems like the capacitor 13 is not wanting to come off, but we will try to get the best out of my heat gun and try to get this off there. Yeah, it's really sticking to this. Man, this is really tough. I don't know, Ben, do you have any recommendations on how to get off a C13 of a PCB? Yeah, that's funny. I never had this in a do-it-yourself kit. Not all the parts were included. Yeah, interesting. Put the heat right to it, 330 degrees and closer to it. Okay, let's increase the heat a little bit. 350. I hope you're talking about Celsius. Yeah, you're talking about Celsius. And I put it right closer to it. I hope I do not burn this one relay. What I try to do is I try to get off one side first. Man, this is really tough. It's not letting go. Come on. Let go of this PCB. I know you love it. I'm not sure. Put the heat right to it. Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, it's burning down my fingers that are right next to the heat gun, but not the actual solder paste. That's interesting. That's not good. That's not good. Maybe we can try it on the another PCB that I do have, and maybe we'll be a little bit more lucky on this one. That's really weird. This never happened to me. In the middle, don't move around. Yeah, but the thing is, the issue that I do have is that when I try to put the heat in the middle, let me see to get a better camera angle. When I try to get the heat in the middle, I'm not sure if it actually will heat up the left and the right equally. Maybe while I heat up the IC, it will also heat up the solder paste. You could be right, yeah. So let's wait here. Maybe you guys have some questions. Let me know. If you do guys have some questions, I bet that it's not low low solder temperature if they did it. Yeah, not sure. This one that I do have lying here in front of me, I'm currently trying to get it off. This one is from a manufacturer out of China. So yeah, this is one of the boards that should go in mass production. That we will see sometime in the future. I cannot provide any date for this, but just so that you guys know, there is a company that is wanting to try to sell those in masses. And yeah, I'm trying to tell them what to do and what not to. It seems like, I'm not sure, Ben, it seems like I burned this IC, and I don't want to do this. Like, it's getting brown on the top. Still not hot enough. Insane how long it takes. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe I should use my solder iron instead of the heat gun. With the solder iron I can probably get the first side off and then the second side off. It's really hot. Yeah, so it's 9:30 p.m. here. Happy to be here with you guys and showing you how boring it can be to get a part of a PCB. But that's the way I'm trying to entertain you guys. I'm sorry. It's still not going off. You know what? I'm trying to use my solder iron instead. Give me 1 second. I need to plug this in. Here we go. Put your tweezers and keep wiggling. Yeah, probably you're right, but now I'm really annoyed about this. Now I will use a destructive method. Therefore, my solder iron. Yeah, we can still apply a little bit of heat to it. Jiggle it around a little bit. I'm not sure how this should help. It's annoying a little bit. Maybe you need to do a demo. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you need to do a demo. Still trying to get it off here. Wiggling around with the tweezers. It's getting hot in my hands, but I think the solder iron should be ready in just a second. Annoying, but yeah, it is what it is. So let's grab the solder iron instead. And let's try to get rid of this. Let me clean up the solder iron first. We do have it to 300 degrees. Let me increase it to 350. Let me clean it up. There we go. You need to be destructive with it. I'm telling you. There you go. Just the destructive method. There you go. See? I got it. Everything is fine. Huh. Literally burned it to death, but yeah, it's working. And now, hey Homer says, I hope I pronounced this correctly. Hey there. Now let's see. I bend it a little bit, so let me bend it back. And let me apply a little bit of solder paste to the PCB. So let me zoom in again so that you do guys see what I am doing here. So let's apply a little bit of solder paste to this side and a little bit on this side. I need to heat it up a little bit so that the solder paste is sticking better to the two pads where I want this solder paste to be. So this on this side and a little bit on this side as well. Probably way too much, but now I'm a little bit yeah, I'm I don't know, like a little bit stressed about this one. Let me see what kind. Ben, I'm not sure, but I believe there is no orientation on C13. If I'm wrong, correct me please. The IC that I'm using here is a different one from the ones you will see on the other boards. Let's see, we do have this one here, C13. No, there is no orientation. Wait, I placed it the wrong orientation one. So this should be the orientation. Wrong way, yeah, thank you. Figured it out myself. You're correct. So this is the orientation. Whoopala. This was the power cable, nevertheless. So, now we put it on there. In the first place with the wrong orientation, now with the right one. Let's solder it onto it. So let's get this side first. Opala. And now let's move this board around a little bit. There we go. Now it should be, I'm sorry, the angle was not good. Now this do-it-yourself kit should be done. So what are we doing now? What I want to do is I want to apply this weird looking heatsink. I don't know if this is the actual heatsink that will be included with the central kits or not, because normally you do get some sort of this looking heatsink. It's small, or even some other versions with some other coolers. This has a Noctua cooler onto it, and you can just stick it on it. This one is a little bit weird. I bet that this one has been bought by the viewer who sent me this kit on themselves, and as you can see, I need to put in these legs on both ends, and then I can actually set it onto the PCB. It's totally weird, but I believe it's working. So that's what we are doing now. So let's get a little bit of thermal paste on the ASIC, just a good chunk of it, and then let's place it on the heatsink onto it. So let's see, I take this quickly off camera to do this, oh my goodness, to align this as good as possible. I just pop it in there. Let me take the other hole as well. Get the other hole, there we go. So yeah, that's nice. So what I'm doing now, let me power off all the soldering tools because I don't want to burn down my house. We do not have a screen included in this one, but I do have a screen here. So we can take a look at the screen. I will now connect this to my PC, and I will move you guys over to my PC so that we all can take a look if this one is working correctly or not. Just give me a second. I need to grab my cable. As you can see, it is micro USB. There we go. Micro USB. Oh wait, I need to plug in a fan as well. The fan in here. What kind of weird plug is this? Oh my goodness. This is some really weird plug for a 4-pin fan. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's annoying. This kit is... I don't know why it's annoying. Oh, bala. I'm sorry, that was probably loud. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let me get the right tool that I need for the Bitaxe to get the screws off of this one. Because we don't want to burn down the Bitaxe. That's weird. This connector is so weird. I've never seen such a connector. But I believe that it will work or function just like normal. Let me see what I can do about this connector. To the viewer of mine, if you are watching this live stream and you're wondering why I will destroy this weird looking thing that is supposed to be a 4-pin connection for the fan, I will do this because this one is annoying, really annoying. You cannot plug in a fan. What is this? Probably you would need to use a special fan to use it on it. I don't know. Let me get a tool. 1 second. So there we go. Or maybe I can bend it away. Maybe I can bend it away because it's just plastic. I'm not sure. Ah, there we go. It broke apart. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about it. I'm not, because this is bullshit. Why would you put some... That's really weird. And it's really weird to see. I never saw such a thing. Probably there was a mistake in the production. So let's put on the fan. Let's place it up here or beneath it, because we will not hash right away. What we will do in the first place is we want to connect this to the PC. We want to get a connection with it so that we can actually program the ESP that is laying on it. Let me get some screws so that it just holds barely into place. Shouldn't be any beautiful thing here. Okay, I do hear an issue. It is connecting and reconnecting all the time, so that's weird. So something must be off with this board. Let me quickly inspect all the things, because when you plug in a device into a Windows PC, as I'm doing it currently, you will get a sound, and I got the sound for the connection and the disconnection, the connection and the disconnection. This shouldn't be right. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to figure out where could be the issue. Maybe I missed a short on this board. So let me clean it up a little bit and let me take out my glasses to take a look on it. 1 second, I need to take it off the camera. It could be that I missed a spot right there. You know what? Let me heat up U10 again. U10 is this one. It's not looking good to me. I will try to heat it up again. So I decreased the temperature to 240 degrees. I'll try to apply a little bit of pressure to it, because the right hand side doesn't, the left hand side doesn't look that good. Let me see if I can zoom in here so that you understand what I'm talking about. The left side here, there's no short, but it looks ugly. Maybe there is a problem with the connection point. You know what? I bet it would be more ideal if I just get rid of this connector. Yeah, I don't want to burn the connector. Or the holder for the heatsink. That's what it probably is called. So I just applied a little bit of pressure to it to make sure that the connection between the small legs and the actual IC is there. That's not beautiful. It's looking a little bit ugly, but it should work. So let me see if I now plug it in, if the cable is now giving me wait. So it's let me open up the device manager 1 second. So device manager. So let's see. Yeah, so it appears to be connecting and reconnecting all the time. So this could be due to 2 different reasons. Either I made an issue when it comes to the actually soldering part, but usually it shouldn't, because we do have a micro USB connection that is directly, here you see there's a micro USB connection that is going directly to the ESP32. So what I believe is it could be that there is a connection issue with the ESP, and I will quickly inspect it if I do see any shorts or anything else. But to be honest, I cannot see a short. Let me get rid of the heatsink so that I can see it a little bit better. Because actually guys, so when it comes to the soldering part, that's basically it. So I showed you how you can solder all the parts. What I'm now trying to do is to get rid of the issue that I do have reconnections all the time. Like it's connecting and disconnecting. Hold down the boot and reset button for 5 seconds. Yeah, I will do this in a second. Just give me a moment to figure out if there is any solder bridge or not. Because currently I do not can see a solder bridge. But it's always better to verify than just to believe what you are seeing, you know? So let's get this back on here. There one and there one. So we will plug in this one and hold down both buttons for 5 seconds. No, it's still connecting and reconnecting. Yeah. Let me see if there are any issues with the connection port on the micro USB connector. Could also be a thing. Like now we have done as much as we can when it comes to the actual soldering part. You soldered all the parts to it, and now we're just trying to apply the firmware to this device. This shouldn't be an issue, as I do have one version here that I just plugged in the micro USB cable and everything was working as expected. I will quickly take a look on all the ports that you would need, like the micro USB port. Maybe I do see a bridge or anything else there, but no, I cannot see any bridge over there. So that's weird. I mean, the solder points on the ESP look normal compared to the other ones that I do have. I will try to just apply a little bit of heat to the ESP32. Maybe we need to reball them, Next would be the USB, then U9. Okay, you're right. It could be that I do have an issue with the U9. We have soldered on the U9 previously, and what I want to do, I think that's a good idea to take the U9. You're right, Ben. So we want to take this one off. So we apply a little bit of heat to it. The U9, as far as I know, is there for the connection part between the ESP and the USB serial connection. So we do have plenty of solder paste on the U9, and we do have way too much on the PCB. So what I will do is heat this section up again. And what I want to use my copper wire that I have used previously to get rid of this excessive one. I'm sorry for the camera management in this current moment. There's my copper wire. I needed to find my copper wire to get rid of the solder paste that I do have there. So let's apply a little bit of heat, and let's try to get the solder paste to actually connect with my copper wire so that I get rid of it on the PCB. So I did got the blobs off the PCB. Let me visually inspect it. I do have one blob up here. These things are tiny. They are really tiny. So let's get this U9 back up there. So the U9 is causing problems, probably. But we will know as soon as we resoldered it to this one. So let's apply a little bit of flux before we go ahead. Let me give it a little bit of heat. Just a tiny amount. Let's get a tiny amount of flux, and we will put it on here, so that we do have a better surface tension for the solder paste to connect between the IC. Too much on the center also. You think so? Yeah, I think you're right. So let's try to get rid of this as well. I'm trying to be as good when it comes to the camera management as possible, but I cannot take a look on the camera and try to apply my heat gun at the same time. Yeah, now it should be better. Yeah, now it looks a little bit better. Oops, let me move this down. There's still a chunk of solder paste on the center, but we will give it a try. We need to apply some flux. I already did, but you know, with the heat you're washing it away. It's not bad if you use flux. You can use as much flux as you want. There's not too much as far as I know. So I placed it gently in the right spot. Let's see if we can solder everything up. So I did not apply any pressure to it this time. I will try to reconnect it. There we go. I will try to reconnect it, and let's see if we now get a USB connection. So let me quickly put on the tiny legs. Wait, how do I put this on? Man, this is annoying. So let's see if we fix the issue or not. Because Ben is totally right, it could be the U9 that is causing this issue. Let's give this 1 or 2 seconds just to cool down a little bit more. I will quickly apply the LED screen here. Let's first check if the connection is now stable or not. I will gently try to cool it down. And I still hope that the stream is doing good. I still have some issues with it. Nah. Still connecting and reconnecting. So maybe I need to apply some heat to the U9 to get rid of excess solder paste that I do have underneath it. So let's see. I need to use my other hand. So I applied some pressure to it. Reseating didn't work for me either. After USB power only. Yeah. That's correct. Do you hold the boot and the reset button after plugging in the USB or as you plugged it in? For the people who are asking this, so if we just want to get the firmware on this device, we do not need to use the 5-volt power. We only need to use the micro USB cable or whatever connector you do have on your board. You don't want to plug it into power. And then if the connection is not reconnecting as it is currently, normally what you would do is just press the boot or hold the boot button and then plug in the cable, or plug in the cable and press both a short amount of time, and then you should be in the right boot mode for the ESP32, and you should be able to configure it and upload the firmware to it. Because if you press the boot button and the reset button at the same time and release the reset button, it will actually boot up into something called a boot mode. Okay, that's weird. It's still reconnecting for me. Still reconnecting. So let's try to do a little bit of a trial and error. Let's try to figure out what could cause this, because we do have a couple of connections here. We do have the one. Let me quickly see something. This does not have one. So this one is soldered correctly. I just need to check if the things are soldered in here correctly. I just compared quickly to my other board that I do have. So U10 was ugly, but should be alright now. U8 should also be alright. The Q2 and Q1 are also looking good. I'm not really sure what is causing this at the current moment. Could be short elsewhere then. Yeah, you're correct. So let's see. I will also try to. I need to inspect it. Maybe I need to redo the U10 as well again, because it's not. I don't think there is a short. I'm not sure. Wait, let me get the zooming glasses. Let me take a look on it. Sometimes this is really trial and error. I mean, it could be that it is the U10, but I'm not sure. Do you feel any heat? Check micro USB. I already checked the micro USB connection, so I don't think that it is on the micro USB port. If you're talking about the port and the connection of the port, maybe the U10. I do not have the schematic sheet currently, but I know that a couple of those ICs are used for different things. You know what, let's get rid of U10. So I took off U10 because it's really ugly how I soldered to it. And let's try to get rid of the excessive solder paste that I do have on there. So let's see. I do have a little bit of this copper wire. I know now is a sort of a process that is probably not fun to watch, and I do know this, but on the other hand I really find this interesting that things like this happen currently for two reasons. The first one is now I can show you what could happen if you do not pay attention to everything in a step. It might take you also a couple tries to figure out what could be this, because now I am as clueless as everyone else. I do not know where the issue lays. What I'm trying to do is trying to take a look on all the ICs that I do see here, and I'm just trying to make sure that every IC is connected as good as possible. That's also what you need to make sure, that you try to lay the ICs in the correct position and try to get them in the right spot. Now let's see. Sometimes it really needs a couple of seconds for you to get into this. It's not easy. Let's apply some heat. Opala. This is now looking way better. So let's check more parts. Let me check U9 again, if you do have some sort of shorts maybe outside. So let me quickly take a look on it. 1 second. I mean, U9 is not looking good, but it's not looking bad as well. So I could give it a third try and re-solder it again, but I'm not sure. So let me check now the USB connection, and if it still is reconnecting, I will try to redo U9 again. Yeah, it's still reconnecting. This is annoying. But yeah, that's the process. That's what you are trying to do. You're trying to find issues that you do have with this one. Let's see, what else do we have here? I probably need to take off U9 again. Maybe I just try to apply more heat to it and press it down way more. Sometimes this can also help. Let's see. Let me check if we do not have any shorts on the outside. Now it's looking better than before. But there, as I said, there are a couple of points that could lead to a failure of everything. And we need to be sure that all the parts are aligned as correctly as possible, and we do not miss a single part, and that everything is in the correct position. I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good. So let's hope, let's pray. Trying and hold boot and reset and power and the plug USB. It worked for me for some reason. Yeah. I try. Nah. It's still reconnecting. Oh, wait a second. I believe that it is working now. Let me take you over to my desktop. One second. Which one? This is the correct one. Let's check the COM1. We do have COM7 online here, so that's looking good. So let's open up Visual Studio Code. I do have this one prepared, and let's see if we can actually get a connection to this. So let me open up the terminal. Yeah, it's not the correct terminal, but nevertheless. We do have the Bitaxe tool here. So let's see if the Bitaxe tool is working. So let's see what was the actual command for this. Let me quickly go over to my other screen. 1 second. I need to figure out ESP-miner, because obviously I'm doing this not every day, but there are a couple of commands that you need to put in there, and then everything should be working. So let me take a look on this. We do have this command. That's the command I want to use. There we go. So let's see. I do have a firmware that is ready, but I believe it's not this firmware. It should be the version 2.1, 2.0.1, I believe. Let's see. Am I in the right one? Node miner. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong folder. ESP miner. There we go. So we do have correct files here. Yeah, we do have this factory 2.00. Okay, so then it's fine. Now I need to configure the correct port. We do choose port COM7, and let's see if this one is working. Hey guys, it's working. It's working. That's amazing. So it is actually flashing to it. So let's wait for it. We do not want to interrupt it or anything else. We just want to wait for it to actually complete and finish. It's looking perfect. So 2 hours into the live stream, we do have 13 people still watching. Thank you guys so much for being in here, and yeah, spread some love about the open source mining community. It's really nice to have such a community and be with them. The waiting process probably is also a little bit annoying, but it seems like things are working. Always the first boot section will take some time. So what I did now is I just was pressing the reset button as Marcus was pointing out. Sometimes it works. I don't know. I never had this issue before, but the way how I did it is correct. Like, you want to check all the parts that you have soldered onto this board, and after this, then you want to check if there's any issues with the connection and anything else. The U9 that I desoldered and resoldered onto it now like 3 times, this is really the most crucial part, because this is for, I believe, I'm not sure if Ben is still in here, but I believe this is the head between the connection between the ESP32 and the USB connection and the overall serial connectivity between it. And if this one isn't in the correct soldering points, it will lead to issues. So 1 second, let me quickly get this off here. Let me see if I can power this now. I will change the fan. Wait, I move the camera so that you guys see what I'm doing. it's a little bit messy. There we go. So I take you. I'm sorry, the microphone fell off. Okay, yeah, this stream is probably a little bit weird, not really professional. I'm just trying to be as helpful as possible, but now things are falling apart over here. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I'm sorry for the noise. So there we go. Let's get this one back on. I just plug in the fan now in a weird position, just for the sake, because there's no real use at the moment for it to be in another position. So let me grab my self-soldered cable. 1 second. There we go. I do have another Bitaxe. And let me plug this one in. So we do have negative here. We do have positive on this one here. And now let me grab my 5-volt power supply. And let me see where I need to plug this in. This will just take a couple of seconds and then everything should work. We should see this power up. Hopefully the display should power up, and then we should be able to see that this one is working. So let me grab my screwdriver, because the cable management I have for my 5-volt power supply is a little bit off. It's working. I did a video about this if you're interested in a power supply that can run multiple Bitaxe devices. Like you see, I do have one cable that's connected to 2 Bitaxe devices. Yeah, let's see if this one powers on or if we will have a fire here. I hope we will not have a fire, but obviously you never know. So maybe I should point this out. Everything I do is just for educational purpose, and I'm not a professional in any way. So just that you guys know. Okay, let me grab out the cable from my soldering station. And let's see what it is doing. So, what do we see? We do see my J-bit that I got from Jacob. He's also one of the producers or the developers of this Bitaxe project. This one was pre-assembled and it was coming in a clear case. And this one we assembled. And as you can see, guys, this is telling me connect to SSID. Okay, so now I will get you guys over to my PC again and we will do this together. So I'm now opening my Wi-Fi terminal in here, and I want to connect to the Bitaxe. So I want to connect to it. Let me move around my microphone. And let me grab a new tab for everything. So there we go. Let me also check if everything is working here correctly. So there we are. If you are connected to the Wi-Fi of the Bitaxe, it will usually produce its own IP range address. What does this mean? Basically, it will act as a router. And what we want to do is we want to open a page. It's called 192.168.4.1, and this is the Wi-Fi of the Bitaxe. So let me quickly. No, I don't care. Let me change the settings to the Wi-Fi network that I want to use here. We save this. We restart this. I then need to go over to my other screen again, because unfortunately I don't want you guys to see this, but I need to check my IP addresses that I do have and which one this is getting. Or what we also could do is take a look on the screen of my phone. 1 second. I need to establish a connection with the Wi-Fi so that I do have a scene for my phone. 1 second. One second. There we are. 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 And do we do a CIP? Yeah, 10.0.10.6.5. So, yeah, I bet it's working. Let's move over to the PC. Let's put in the IP address that we saw on the screen. 10.0.10.65. And what do we see? We see nothing. Hash rate 0 currently. We do see a chip temperature that's absolutely not good. Not good. So it could be that we do have two issues here. Let me quickly get this one off the power. So we do have two options that could be an issue here. Either the ASIC chip has not been placed correctly onto it, but correct me if I'm wrong, then we wouldn't see chip temperatures and stuff like this. So I bet the heatsink connection is not the best. I will take this one off. 1 second. We'll need to change this screen again. So I believe that there is probably some issue with the heatsink that we do have, and the solder paste, not the solder paste, the thermal paste that I applied to it. Maybe it was not enough, but 127 degrees Celsius is way too much for such a small chip. It shouldn't have such a high temperature. It should idle between like 50 to 60 degrees. Yeah. What I want to make sure now is I want to quickly clean this off, and just for the sake of being here, I want to desolder the ASIC chip again, make sure that we do not have too much solder paste onto it, and then solder it back onto it again. Let me quickly wiggle away the cables. Let me get rid of this cable. Now I need to plug in the cable for the hot station again. Yep, there we go. I need to grab a sheet of paper, there we go, to get rid of the thermal paste. We don't want any thermal paste on it while we try to solder with it. So let's see. Let me move over my microphone again. So there we go. We do have this ASIC there. I want to take this off, as I told you, to check if everything is connected correctly and we do not have too much solder paste on it. And what we also could do before we desolder it, we could try to apply a little bit of pressure to it, so that we do have a squeeze on the solder paste, so that if there is any solder paste in a wrong spot, it actually gets squeezed out of it. I think this could be enough of like heating it. Let me visual inspect it quickly. There we go. And yeah, it seems like the IC on the bottom was falling off. Interesting. So I need to reapply a little bit of solder paste to the bottom side again to get this IC back up here. The capacitor was falling off. I don't know why. Sometimes weird stuff happen if you apply a ton of heat to stuff. So let's quickly heat this up. Let's establish a connection. This side is good. Let's get the other side. Let's see what's going on here. So you see the IC was moving in the right position on its own. This is the magic I'm always talking about. So this is looking good. Let this cool down just for a second. I just applied a little bit of pressure to the ASIC chip, and I also applied heat to it for a second time. Why did I do this? Maybe there is a spot that has not been correct for any reason, and we need to get rid of a little bit excessive solder paste. I think for the ASIC chip, a solder is preferred. Yeah. We discussed this previously. It could be a good idea to have some sort of a stencil for the ASIC chip, because this has a ton of points that you want to connect and that you want to make sure that everything is connecting properly. It's hot as currently. I needed to cool down a little bit, but then I could try to reassemble it. Let me put on a little bit more thermal paste again on the ASIC. A good chunk, way too much, but you know, thermal paste can never be too much. A big blob. I mean, it should work, and we have seen it establish a Wi-Fi connection, so ESP wise things are looking good. The only thing that we now need to make sure is that the ASIC also is in a good position, is located correctly, and that everything is working as it should. And therefore I will apply power to this. I will put on the fan, because this will try to start hashing right away. So let me quickly secure the fan, just as we are here. So let's see. Let me get rid of this cable and let me plug in the power. Let's see. So now the screen is doing nothing. Interesting. That's not good. That's not what I wanted. Interesting. Hey Ben, welcome back. So we programmed it, and now I'm trying to figure out why things are not working as they should. Now I'm checking temperature wise what's going on here. Like, interesting. I'm not sure if this heatsink is something that you should use. I believe I got a short between the PCB and me. It felt weird. You know what? Let me assemble one of the other heatsinks. This one is weird, as I said. I don't like it at all. It's really weird. So let me quickly grab the heatsink of mine, and let's see if we can get this to work with this one. So there we go. So let's just screw it in there just a tiny bit. We don't need it to be in there very far. Okay, now something is off, something is wrong. The display is not turning on. I need to check things. So power-wise, everything is wired up correctly. It could be Then power it in again. Maybe the screen is just wiggling around a little bit. No, something is off. Something, you resoldered the ASIC, sounds like it's shortened now. Yeah, yep. That's probably what I think, that it is shortened now. So, let's resolder the ASIC again. So it's not big of a deal. It's sometimes just a little bit annoying. So I was resoldering the ASIC because the temperature readings that we got were not right, and it was not hashing. So yeah, let's see, where do I have my paper? There it is. Let's clean it up. I do have some isopropyl alcohol here. No, that's the wrong one. I do have some alcohol over there that I can use to clean it up a little bit better. Isopropanol alcohol, or whatever it's called. Oh yeah, that's how it's called. Just to clean it up better. To get access, to get the solder, no, not the solder paste, I'm sorry, I'm really weird in my head currently. To get away of the thermal paste, we want to get rid of this. Okay, so 260, let's increase this to 270. Let's make quick process of this ASIC. You know what, for the sake of being here, I can try to use one of the other ASICs that I do have lying around here, because they are pre-soldered. Wait, let me see. I want to take a look on the ASIC that I do have here. It's not looking too bad. I do see a couple of shorts, yep, that's for sure. So let's get some alcohol and let's clean up the spot, because I do see there's also some thermal paste that we don't want there to be. Okay. So let's see. We do have this ASIC, and I'm not sure. Let me clean up the ASIC as well. It's a little dirty down there. Yeah, it seems like I do have a short connection between the negative and a couple of the pins. The pins themselves look pretty fine. Like, let's see. On the left hand side, I do see a tiny amount of solder paste, and it could be that this interferes with a couple of the pins. I'm just trying to take a look on them as good as possible. I don't believe that I can show it like you to this. Let me try to get rid of a little bit of the solder paste that is on there. Let me see how I can do this. Maybe I can move it just with the heel. I think that's a stupid idea. I mean, it's working. Let's grab some copper wire here. And let's see if we can get things done here. So I'm just trying to make the solder paste stick to the copper. Oh, the gold should be silver. Yeah, you're right, all this gold should be silver. You are totally right. So then I guess let's apply some solder paste to it. Not too much, but a little bit. And let's get the ASIC chip on the PCB again. And again, I'm trying to be as precise as possible. Like, we want this to be precisely in the spot. Should be good, what I'm seeing here. So, let's heat this up. Let me change my hand again. Let me use a tiny amount of pressure. Okay, interesting. It was not really sticking to... I should have used a little bit of solder flux to get it in the right position. I did not do this. Yeah, you're right, flux. Ben, I know, you're always right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yep, you're right. And the heat that I'm using is way too much, oh my goodness. So let's reduce this by 225. You see my capacitor is always falling off. So let's use a little bit of flux. A little bit of flux everywhere. I'm sorry for being so quiet, guys. It's just for the sake of, you know, trying to be as professional as possible while doing this. Yeah, what I'm talking, So let's get this capacitor back up on the right spot where it belongs to. I'm sorry, little capacitor. Yeah. Flux again. So let's use some flux again here. A little flux here, a little bit flux there. Ben is always right. He's telling me what to do, and I'm just trying to follow his instructions. You know. the surface tension of solder paste decreases while using it. That's what I know. It's not much, but a little bit. It seems like I need to get rid of the solder paste that I do have on here and get some new on there. Yeah, it's way too much that I do have on here. So we got rid of a tiny portion of this. Let's put on some new one on the bottom part. And let's try to apply this one again. It's only heating up all those things, so that's another thing that could happen to you, like you're just trying to solder the things to the PCB and out of nowhere parts are falling off, or I don't know, like parts are acting weird. That's something that can happen. It does not need to be, or it does not need to happen, but it is what it is. So there we go, now it is back in place. Oh, I'm sorry, I was not showing you what I'm doing, what I was doing there. Yeah. So, let's check. Oh, for fuck's sake! This capacitor is driving me crazy like hell. What is wrong with this? Really annoying. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Clean it up again. Clean. Important part. So now we need a little bit of solder paste here. And a little bit here. And please, now your little capacitor, stay on this damn PCB. There's no reason for you to fall off. I'm sorry. Okay, I hope that it now stays on there. I want it to cool down a little bit, so let's get this offline. And yeah, the PCB is really hot. Let's see. After this, I want to put on the smaller heatsink that I do have here. I just need to wait for a couple of seconds. We still do have 7 of you guys watching this. By the way, still, again, a big thank you for being here and watching this with me. Yeah, if you do have any questions or anything else, just leave a question in the live chat. And I'm happy to try to answer all of your questions. If not, I bet Ben will also try to answer 1 or 2 of your questions, because he is here in the chat as well. So let's see. Let's take a little bit of thermal paste. Let's put it on the ASIC. And let's get the cooler on the ASIC. Okay, that's looking good. That's looking good. Now let's get a fan. So this one here, I will just barely plug it in. Just want to make sure that this one is getting cooled a little bit. And now we can make sure that we do plug in power. And let's see if it is working now. I hope it's working now. I really hope so. So let's see. I still don't see something on the screen. Damn it. Ben, I guess it still could be a short on the ASIC. That's what I believe, because we did not change anything else. Yeah. I mean, this is, as I told you, this is the procedure of going over all these steps, trying to figure out what is going on, trying to figure out what we can change here, and realign the ASIC. The first issue that we had was the ESP to get it programmed. This one we resolved, and now the next one is to get rid of any issues when it comes to the ASIC that we do have on this board. So let me just gently get rid of the heatsink. Do we have a soldering iron that is flat? No, not really. I don't really have a soldering iron that is flat. I do have a couple of different tips for my soldering iron. Wait. Let me see. I do have a couple of different tips. Where are they? Like I can change the tip on my soldering iron to a more pointy one, and so on. I just need to figure out where those tips are. I know that I do have them. Let me see. Seems like they are somewhere. There we go. There we go. Are all the pads tinned? Yep. All the pads are tinned. What I also could do is, these are the tips that I do have. The most flat one is probably the right one. Let me see. This one here is probably the most flat one that I could use. I could also try to change and use one of the other ASICs that I do have laying around. I will use one of the other ASICs. Just for the sake of being here. I don't want this stream to be like 10 hours long. Therefore, let's get rid of all this thermal paste. And let's see if we can put on an ASIC that is working, or that is at least better tinned than mine, or this one. Tin the whole ASIC. Yep. I will do this. Just a second. Let me get rid of all these thermal paste that I do have here. Let me get some isopropyl alcohol. So this should be fine now. So now I can desolder it. There we go. So let's desolder this again. So let's take a look on the ASIC. Wait, let me quickly take a look on the board. Board looks fine so far. Let me clean it off a little bit. So the board looks fine. I'm just not sure how I should clean the whole ASIC. Like, I could do it with this soldering iron, or let me try to use the heat gun and my copper wire here. Because what I'm thinking is, opala, it's moving. I don't want it to let's see if this one is any better now. That's enough of solder, just add flux and drag the flat top across the PCB and chip. Yeah, you're probably correct. I did took a look now on the ASIC, and everything of the connectors has enough flux, enough solder paste on it. So I want to add some flux to it. And this should help with resoldering it. At least that's what I hope. If this does not help, I will try to use one of the other ASIC chips that I do have. Opala. So let's see if this one is now getting a proper connection. Okay. Little bit boring. Watching a random guy on YouTube applying some solder paste and thermal paste to some sort of an ASIC device. I get it. But that's what you wanted to see, guys. Don't you judge? So, let me grab a little bit more isopropyl alcohol. Because I still do see some thermal paste on the edges, so I cannot see the connection points. So it's not aligned. Let me align it. Oh yeah. There's a big blob coming out. Let's catch this. I'm not sure if I'm aligned. I mean, it looks like I'm now aligned way better. Probably this blob was also way too much of solder paste underneath it. So let's see if we can now apply a heatsink to it, and then we do not have any short any longer. How long are we into it? Like almost 3 hours. Insane that you guys are still watching me. Insane. I really appreciate everybody of you, and I hope that this works now. Let's give this a couple of seconds to cool down. Let me quickly also cool down my room. I need to open my window. 1 second, I will be right back. So there we go. Let's put on the heatsink on it, and let's see if we now have done everything correct, or if something is still wrong. I pray that everything is now correct, but let's see. So negative onto it, positive onto it. We need a tiny fan, and we need at least 1 screw to get this into the position, just to stay right there. Okay, let's see. Let me change the plug. 1 second. The power outlet situation here for me is not good, so that's the reason why I need to unplug and plug all these stations back and forth in. Yeah, and I also need to make sure that I do not burn myself, because the soldering station is right next to it. So where's the plug? There's the plug. Let's see if it now is booting up. Okay. Something is still not good. Maybe still too much solder paste still on it. Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, that's the only reason I could think about why it wouldn't boot up. Like that there is way too much solder paste still on it. Any other reason wouldn't make any sense for me. Yeah. So let's see. let's see. Couldn't be that this ASIC is getting us so much trouble. I told you guys that I want to change it now to one of the other ASICs that I do have laying around. And that's totally what I'm doing now. I will get rid of this and I will put in another ASIC, because I do have a couple of them. And they're all the, yeah, thank you, Ben. And goodbye to you, Ben. I do have a bunch of these BM1397 chips laying around. So let's see if we can sort out the issue that we do have currently. I mean, it must be something with the solder points that we do have. I cannot imagine that anything else is driving this issue than just these solder points. There's still some blobs coming off of it. Wait a second. Let me try to gently press down to it, because currently we do not have any connection to the ASIC. That's what it seems to me. Okay, so there was a blob. IK word. Yeah, thank you for staying in here. I totally appreciate it. I totally appreciate everybody that is coming in here and watching this, because this is stuff that we want. Like, we want open source, the open source mining community to be more open source and showing the people what it is everything about. And that's totally what I'm doing here. I'm showing you how this is being assembled, how you can actually try to figure out issues with those boards, as like the issue that we currently see. We do see that I do have issues with the connection between the ASIC and the ESP, so therefore I need to make sure that it's soldered in properly. And I now tried to resolder it a couple of times, but it's not working for whatever reason. Probably because I'm too bad when it comes to soldering, but let's see if we now got it. I know that the first time we did it, it functions right away. Probably luck. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure about the screen in here, if the screen is actually shown up. Wait a second, let me see if we do have any sort of connection to Wi-Fi. No, so it's not connecting to Wi-Fi, obviously, because there is some sort of a short with it. Huh, interesting, really interesting. So let me get this up again. Okay, so now I really want to desolder this ASIC and put in one of the other ones that I do have, because it's trying to be complicated to me. There's no reason for this. It's a little bit mean, but yeah. That's the ASIC repair work, I believe, that people are always complaining about. Like, imagine you do have one of those big ASIC miners, like a Bitmain one, and they have a ton of these tiny chips lined in parallel or in series. I don't know, like probably in series. And yeah, you try to fix it. Oof, good luck. It's probably gonna be hard. Let me see if I can now move this ASIC away here. Oh yeah, let's clean it first. This one is driving me nuts, really. I have a job in hardware repair, started a company no longer, and mining is, my opinion, the most exciting field to be in. Yeah, obviously, mining is so, it has so many stages and so many different approaches that you can take, like literally, like one guy is doing some GPU stuff and now you need to repair a GPU or anything else, or you need to allocate the right GPU choice. The other one is using ASICs. Now you do have a ton of jobs in power, and you need people that are used to power to have the right power amount the guy needs. Dude, it's insane. Like, mining is opening so many businesses for people, not only the mining industry but what comes along with it. I'm trying to figure out if these connections are alright. I'm not sure if you do have any short in here. It could be that the amount of solder paste that I do have in the middle of this one, like between the positive and the negative field, is too much. And if this is the case, then we do know where the issue belongs. But I'm now a little bit annoyed by this chip, and I want to use another one. So let's get rid of the chip. Let's clean the field up quickly. It's not beautiful, but it should function. So let's use some isopropyl alcohol. Clean it up even better, hopefully. Yeah, so the board is looking good. Now we do get one of my chips. Let me put it on here. Let me adjust it. Wait. We need flux. Guys, we need flux. We need flux. Let's get a good amount of flux onto it so that everything is sticking. So now we can get this one. So the pre-tint one is probably easier to solder into the right spot, because those pins are so tiny. You see the capacitor already fell off. This annoying piece of shit. These lines, these connection lines are so tiny that literally a millimeter is way too much. So let's solder this on. We will apply a little bit of heat. The camera is probably way off here. Yeah, you will just see my hand. Let me quickly inspect it. No. It's not aligned correctly. It's a tiny amount that is off. So let's see if this fixed it. I mean, now it's looking better. Now we still need to get this capacitor back up there. This piece of shit. I'm sorry for the bad words here, but this capacitor is really annoying. So let's try to get rid of the solder paste that we do have on it. Oops, sorry. I'm now just trying to heat it up and get rid of the solder paste that I did have on it, because I believe the solder paste is no longer in a good shape, so that it will not really stick to this one, to the capacitor. So let's apply a little bit of new solder paste to the board. Wait, no, let's firstly clean it. Okay, that's good. Now we can apply a little bit of flux again. Do some flux here and some flux there. I know now this is probably way too much flux what I'm using here for, but now I want to apply a little bit of solder paste onto the flux. There we go. We do have 2 good points. Let's zoom in a little bit there. And now I can use the capacitor, put it on here, and hopefully it should now stick to it. Okay, this one's looking good. Let's see the other side. Okay, I hope it is now sticking to it. It seems like it's really floating around. I don't really like this. I'm trying to blow on it. I was trying to figure out how much work the production of these miners is. I think the 2 things most needed for making the miner will be the solder mask and the pen stencil to place the ASIC chip onto the PCB. Yeah, to be honest, the do-it-yourself kits are really nice, and I really do appreciate that we do have the opportunity to educate ourselves in the soldering part. But I'm not sure if this is really anything that anybody wants to do, because you do have a ton of issues that could happen to you. Like, for example, we have seen we had solder connection issues with the U9, the U9 IC. We did have, or we do have connection issues with the ASIC. So obviously, this is not easy. This is something that the inexperienced ones will have trouble with. So I'm not sure if this is something that you want to do, Willie. I highly suggest that everybody tries this out, because I even did, like I said, the ASIC that I do have here, this one I did in my first live stream, and it is working perfectly. It is hashing all day long. I do not have any issue with it. But with this one, I don't know, something feels weird. Maybe it's a day. Let's see. Okay. Still nothing. That's weird. That's really weird. Now I'm at a point that I do not know what to do, to be honest. Like we tested everything multiple times, and in the first test where we did had a couple of issues with the temperature that we were seeing. I mean, this wasn't an issue, right? Wait, let me see something else. Let me get rid of this one. So I mean, connection wise it is working. I'm just not sure what is happening. Like, probably still the solder connection is not alright. And as I said, like, the most crucial part is the is actually the ASIC. So for having a stencil or a mask, something like this for the ASIC would be ideal, if not the best case. Like, the ASIC should be soldered right on point. If people are not really interested in doing all this soldering and just wanna bring the Bitaxe project forward, I would recommend to buy a fully assembled one. It is a hurdle and it is a time-consuming part of getting this one up and running. It's not that easy, and it can consume a lot of time. As you see, we just needed around 2 hours for it to actually solder all the parts onto it, and now we do need like over an hour to figure out what is the issue with this one. Sometimes it's not really easy, especially if you are trying to figure out what part could cause this issue. It's hard. Like, you cannot see it. You need to test different things on the board. You need to take a look on it, like I'm doing currently. I'm holding it off camera in front of my face to figure out if I have made any other mistake that I'm just not seeing. And I believe I do see one. There's a solder ball floating around, but not sure if this is an issue. It shouldn't be. Like, there are things on this board that are so tiny that you cannot see, and you're trying to build this with your bare hands, while we do have nowadays machines. We do have nowadays machines to place parts perfectly with the right amount of solder paste. So yeah, doing this as a human being nowadays, probably not the best of you. Do you know how to use the U8 for debugging? I think it could help a lot. I mean, I do know how to use the U8 bridge to get it into debugging. I could also debug it with the USB connection. That's what I believe. The testing points I never really used. I just used TP, what was it, 23 to 17. These ones on the top right, to do a little bit of debugging and firmware installation, because those are the USB and TX and RX connections that you want to use on the ESP. I also do have this USB to UART bridge laying somewhere around, but I'm not sure how this should help me now with the debugging of what's going on. Because if there is a bad solder spot, it will not tell you. Maybe voltage wise you could be right, that maybe voltage wise there's something not alright, but I do not know. So what I'm trying to do now is to reheat the ASIC and apply a little bit of heat, because I do know there's a lot of tin underneath it, and if I can get it to a certain temperature and just apply a little bit of heat to it, it should press down to the PCB just fine. Also, the PCB does have more than enough what's it called, more than enough tin on it, so there shouldn't be any issue on it. Whoops, let's wiggle this back in. It's a little bit too high, I'm sorry, maybe there's some background noise. The render is currently opened. I will close it in just a second. Just need to reapply a ton of heat to it. And try to move the ASIC down a couple millimeters. One second, let me see. So currently it's in the wrong spot. Let me apply a little bit more heat. Let's go up to 280. Probably the better idea. Just apply a tiny amount more heat. So now it looks like in a better position. When I take a look on it, yeah. Now it looks like it's in a perfect spot. I'm just not sure if it is in a perfect spot, you know? There are a ton of parts that are heated up now. Ah man, this feels weird. Like the first time it was working, and now we're sitting here and trying to debug it. Yeah, weird, really weird. But let's see. 1 second. Sound-wise, it's sounding good. There's an interesting part. I'm not sure if this is the ESP or the ASIC. If you do plug in the USB connector to it while you're trying to flash the software on it, it will make some sort of a weird noise. I did notice this a couple of times. Also, I'm not sure if the capacitor that I do have there is still intact or not. Wait, I can check this. I do have a multimeter, and if we do not have any resistance between it, it should mean that there is some sort of a false connection. Oh, wait. No, things are looking fine, so that's good. How do y'all? Hey, did you do the diode test on the ASIC to make sure it's seated properly? No, I'm not sure what you're talking about with the diode test. Maybe there's something that I missed that you can explain here to us. Like all the other times that I did the ASIC soldering, I never had any issues, as I explained to the other people right here. Let's see. Still nothing. Oh man, this is getting annoying. This is really getting annoying. A microscope can also help. Yeah, issue is I do not have a microscope. I just have some sort of a lens to increase my view on it. But I do not have a microscope. Would be nice and handy to have one, sure. But I'm too poor for this, man. No, I just never really used it. Let's see. I mean, there has to be an issue with the connection, right? I mean, what I believe what I need to do is that is what we do to make sure there is the right amount of solid. There's an open or not short. Yeah, okay, that sounds interesting, but I have absolutely no idea how I would perform such a test. So unfortunately, I guess I am not really able to do so. Otherwise, you explain how to do this. What I'm trying to do now is maybe I do have an issue with one of the connections, so I'm trying to reheat it and apply a little bit of pressure to it to see if there is way too much solder paste underneath it, and I believe there is way too much underneath it. There's a big blob coming out of it, so that's telling me that there was a ton of solder paste underneath. Otherwise, all the other connections, they look good, so yeah, trial and error is such a fun process, guys. Like making sure you do the same task over and over again. I teach people how to do repair ASICs. Oh, that's quite nice. Where you get the Bitaxe. I want one to assemble myself. So if you want to get a Bitaxe, 1 second. Let me see, where do I have this one? I do have a link somewhere here. Okay, I pinned a message. So there we go. I pinned a message, and when you use this link, you can get a do-it-yourself kit yourself. This one that I do have here is from Decentral. It's also printed on the board. That's quite handy. So let's see if this made any difference while I try to press down on the ASIC a little bit. Yeah, let's plug it in and let's see if I do get a connection. Yeah, still nothing. Man, this is getting weirder and weirder. This is yeah, you know what, guys, I think I will try to end the stream because we already did this for 3.5 hours. I explained on how you can solder all those parts on and what you need to take care of. What I will do is off stream I will try to multiple times to desolder and resolder the ASIC and see if I can figure out the problem. And if I figured out the problem, I will post this on Twitter. So if you do not follow me on Twitter, make sure that you do so, because there will post updates on those kind of things that I'm doing here. Also, I will always update everybody on Twitter if I do plan to upload new videos, which I quite frequently do. Yeah. All right, so I think that's it for now. I thank everybody of you for staying in here with me and bearing with me to try to get this one working. But it's getting very late over here. It's 11 p.m. It's time for me to go to bed, to be honest. And yeah, I think I will call it the day, and I will definitely update you guys on how I performed on this one, because this is driving me nuts that it is not working. So I will make it work sooner or later. Stay tuned, guys, and thank you for being here with me. And yeah, stay tuned and hopefully see you on the next one, because I will do those kind of live streams where I try to assemble those Bitaxes more often, more frequently. So yeah. Thank you guys for staying here, and see you on the next one. Peace out.